Single-day record for most tests given and most positive tests in a day. We'll talk to a doctor who will tell us why.
I think we all need to start to unite together and act as one and care enough about each other to get through this.
She survived. A former nurse who spent a month in the hospital fighting coronavirus has a warning for those who aren't taking it seriously.
Anti-mask movement. Those who oppose mandatory masks have a new weapon. Face coverings that don't work. What doctors say about the social media posts.
Weekend heat. We're tracking temperatures into the 90s for the weekend and beyond. What's old is new again. Clean out the closets this Fashion Friday, from old sneakers to a modern twist on Birkenstocks, the hottest shoe trends for the summer.
I know a lot of Karens. I don't know anyone that's really like that.
Not all Karens are actually Karens. Mike Polk talks to the real Karens in his life to see what they think about how their name is being used now. What's new starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
And a very happy Friday to all of you in Northeast Ohio. And I feel like we need a round of applause, a little audio sound.
We made it another week.
We have made it another week. I hope your Friday has been spectacular so far. Thank you for choosing What's New. Alongside Betsy Kling, I am Jay Crawford. Betsy, a very good Friday afternoon to you.
Thank you. Happy Friday to you, too. It's a beautiful day out there. A little toasty, but we want to kind of focus in, keep folks cool with the latest information on what's happening today. What's new, Jay?
Yeah, well, what's new is our number of reported positive cases. Betsy is at an all-time high. Let's pass the numbers along, and we start with the positive cases. And these cases are up to 1679. I need to point out that we also set a single-day testing record. In fact, we tested more people today than we tested 2 days ago by 7,000. So you can kind of do the comparison there. It is a big jump in cases, but you have to keep in mind our testing numbers are also at an all-time high. As for hospitalizations, they are down on this day. Our positivity rate is also down. So the day-to-day change in the positivity rate is about a half a percentage point. You don't see it there, but there you go. It's 5.8% today. The positivity rate yesterday was 6.3%. Again, that number is the percentage of people that are getting tested that show a positive test. Hospitalizations down 8, and deaths 9 yesterday, down 19 from 28 a day ago. Betsy?
Well, a spike this large has the attention of doctors here in Northeast Ohio. We talked to University Hospital's pediatric infectious disease doctor Amy Edwards shortly after today's numbers came out, and she is not blaming the July 4th holiday. She says this has been building since May, when things started to open up again.
Unless you want the state to be fully shut down again and to be forced to stay inside your home by the governor, people are going to have to figure out a way to live with this. My message to young people is, you're not invincible. Wear your mask. Stop hanging out with your friends.
It's harder to do than actually say, unfortunately. So here's what Dr. Edwards suggests. She wants you to create a quarantine bubble. I love this idea. You get a couple of families together, everybody hangs out. Then you don't kind of go out from there. You stay within your bubble. She wouldn't eat inside a restaurant at this point or inside someone's home, but she does feel comfortable dining outdoors. It's safer if you stay apart. And as for younger people, Dr. Edwards says she can't imagine letting one of her kids play a sport right now or doing any kind of organized activity. But she does feel pools, beaches, and playgrounds are safer, just not when it's busy. Not a bad advice there. And of course, wash your hands. Well, behind the numbers, there are actually real people. That's what gets lost in a lot of this. We're giving numbers, but remember, there are people that are affected by that, and the people that are the numbers. Tiffany Tarpley spoke with a local woman who is still dealing with complications from the virus weeks after being released from the hospital. Tiffany?
Yeah, this is so real, Betsy. While some people are asymptomatic, others have to literally fight for their lives. Marty Allen knows the precautions. After all, she's a retired nurse, but somehow she still contracted new coronavirus. Before the diagnosis, she was physically active and volunteering. Now she needs oxygen to get around. From a bed at University Hospital's Ahuja Medical Center in Beechwood to the intensive care unit at the Cleveland campus, the effects just got worse. At one point, she told her friends she didn't think she'd make it, but she's here today and sharing her story and hopes others will take this virus seriously.
It's like a war where we all have to unite as one and do everything we can for the common good of each other and ourselves and for the nation's survival, because this could destroy things in this country that we take for granted.
And so Marty says she was very close to being put on a ventilator. While she isn't 100%, she says she is feeling better than she did last week. And Betsy, she says, much better than she did when she came home from the hospital. And that was back in mid-June.
It is certainly encouraging to see, but it's also kind of puts it into perspective. Yes, the people who survive it are doing great, but there are still lingering complications, and we can't overlook that.
Exactly. That's an important message to get out there to people.
All right. Thanks for bringing that to us, Tiffany. Jay?
Betsy, we've been telling you all week how a number of big retailers have come out requiring shoppers wear masks when they're in their stores, but there's a segment of the population that doesn't believe masks are necessary and are purposely skirting the rules. Brandon Simmons joins us now with some of the things they're actually doing. Brandon, I'm surprised. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but this when I heard it, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to be surprised about anything nowadays. I mean, by now, we've all heard it a million times from government officials to medical professionals and now, of course, retailers. They say wear a mask, and the simple reason is because it helps. But, of course, there are still some people who will always disagree with what they hear. Now, wearing a mask has led to debates in public settings and in council meetings around the country. And now some anti-mask supporters are taking a new approach. Instead of wearing a mask that protects others, they're choosing to hand crochet options or masks that are made of mesh and using materials that don't truly block the germs. Now, this is one way they're protesting mask rules that are in place. Now, needless to say, medical professionals disagree and say there's plenty of science the last couple months that prove masks are effective at stopping the spread of coronavirus.
In recent weeks, there's been, more and more data coming out showing just how good masks are at blocking transmission. Every time you talk, breathe, sneeze, cough, yawn, droplets come out of your mouth. And so if you can capture those droplets in your mask, then you're less likely to spread it to other people.
So, of course, I asked, what type of mask should we be looking for? Research shows even inexpensive cloth masks are effective, and you're just looking for something that's tightly woven and has multiple layers to it and completely covers the nose, mouth, and tucks underneath the chin. Now, a simple test that Dr. Edwards just showed me today as we were talking, she says, take the mask. I can feel the multiple layers in mine, but you just want to kind of hold it up to the light and see if you can see some of that light peeking through. Obviously, if you see that light coming through, then some of those droplets could obviously get through as well. And of course, Jay, we've heard from the CDC. They say if we all wear masks from 4 to 6 weeks or so, we could probably curb this outbreak.
Yeah, it's stunning to me that there are still so many that refuse to wear these masks. The governor said it. I'll repeat it. We talked about it yesterday. Our future is in our hands. Do we want to get back to normal? Do we want to beat this thing? Do this. Wear them for whatever time the government says we need to wear them, and then let's be done with it already. Brandon, thanks. Have a great weekend.
All right, well, let's get a check of some of the other headlines that are making news today. Russ Mitchell joins us now from over across the room. Hi, Russ. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you, Betsy. To you as well, Jay.
Russ, good afternoon.
And good afternoon to you at home. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg says she is once again being treated for liver cancer. The 87-year-old says she began chemotherapy in May after a scan in February found lesions. Ginsburg says she's getting positive results thus far and is still able to work, quote, full steam, end quote. More than a dozen women have come forward to the Washington Post claiming sexual abuse against top executives with the Washington Redskins. Most remained anonymous, but a former marketing director says her boss would explode, curse at her, and use derogatory slurs. 3 of the men who were accused have recently been fired or left the team. And congratulations to nurse Sheila Struble. Today was her last day at work. She's retiring after 45 years as a neonatal intensive care unit nurse at Fairview Hospital in Cleveland. She arrived to work in style today, rolling up in a limo, greeted by cheers from her colleagues outside. The things she must have seen in that career and all the people she must have helped. I hope the kids have come back. She's treated and have said thank you over the years.
I'm telling you, when you have a baby, the nurses in labor and delivery and right afterward are the most important people in your life other than that baby.
Oh, yeah.
They're the ones that are keeping you going. So.
My little girl was in the neonatal unit for 6 weeks.
Oh, my
so
word.
you become very close to those nurses. So congratulations to her for a job well done.
Thanks, Russ, for bringing that to us, certainly.
See ya.
Well, speaking of getting out a little bit, the waiting game continues at Cedar Point because things are changing again. The park is going to be changing some in-park policies. This one is affecting the most popular rides, the 4 big ones: Steel Vengeance, Millennium Force, Maverick, and Top Thrill Dragster. Now, in order to ride, you have to go to those rides' entrances and get a pass, a timed ticket. Well, they were doing that in the morning and people were taking all the tickets for the entire day. So now you have to do it at 11 a.m. or at 3 p.m.
Wow.
And there's only a limited number of these ride passes that will be available in a certain amount of time. So now they've opened it up to 2 different times that you can pick up those passes, but you still only get 1 hour to ride on those tickets. It's pretty confusing, and I know that I've heard from a few people who missed getting those tickets and they felt kind of left out because all the rides aren't open, so you got to try and get on the big ones when you can.
My son decided he was going to try to go on day 1, which is risky because they really didn't do a lot of rehearsals. So he gets to the park, he's there about 2 hours, and he leaves because nothing was open.
Yep.
No rides. He didn't ride. He stayed for 2 hours, waited in a line that said was going to be an hour before he got on, but he stood there for 45 minutes and never moved. Finally, he said he left, and he wasn't alone. He said there were hundreds of folks streaming out of the park, not happy. So I think it's safe to say that their reopening here has been less than smooth. Hopefully this, Betsy, will be a change to the positive. If people can't get on those 4 rides,
Right.
I don't know about you, but that's why I go to the park. I want to ride those thrill rides.
Exactly, and a lot of people, they plan their entire day, week around that one event. So it's a tough spot to be in.
Yep, well, hopefully they get it figured out. We hear it all the time. I'm sure you've heard it. Karens. But what does that actually mean? Who better to find out than Mike Polk? He has some real-life Karens in his life, and he's going to ask them how they feel about this derogatory term.
It's become derogatory, but
it's just a name.
Where did it start? That's my question. All right, the last installment of our series on new names for the Indians. And I'm not quite sure exactly why this is written this way, but it says the case for the polarizing Cleveland Baseball Club. How is it polarizing?
Well, I don't think anybody wants it to be called the
generic.
Cleveland Baseball. Yeah.
Just generic. All right, we'll dive into that coming up. As far as the weather, that's pretty generic too. I mean,
nothing there, Bess.
Exactly. There's just not a whole lot going on. That's just dandy for summertime standards. We'll talk about the numbers coming this weekend. The heat is on. I have the details next.
Welcome back to What's New, everybody. The term Karen no longer just refers to a person who goes by that name. It is now exploded into this pop culture pejorative. So common now that even the mayor of Chicago this week used that term in reference to White House press secretary. So what is a Karen exactly, and what do real people named Karen think about this development? Mike Polk tells us.
The name Karen is a Danish variation of the English name Catherine, which means pure. But as of late, it has come to represent something quite different.
Karen is showing out.
I'm not a Karen. You want to
Yeah, you are.
Karen has become a pejorative term, used to refer to a disgruntled, middle-aged white woman with a sense of entitlement, usually to describe someone caught on camera throwing public, often racist tantrums of one variety or another. This led me to wonder how people who are actually named Karen feel about this trend. To find out, I spoke to my 3 closest Karens. I asked Karen number 1, my Aunt Karen, if she's had any Karen issues thus far.
You've been a Karen your entire life.
Very long time, yes. I just found out about this a couple days ago, so they might have been calling me Karen, and I thought they were just saying my name.
Karen number 2, my friend's mom, who had some difficulty framing her Zoom shot, was only recently informed of the Karen trend by her daughter.
And what did she describe it as?
Women that weren't very nice and were bossy and pushy and didn't say nice things. That is not me at all.
And that is not you. You're not that kind of Karen.
No.
Okay.
Am I?
No, of course not. Really got Karen on me there for a second.
Karen number 3, my friend Sharon's sister Karen, was at first taken aback by the Karen trend.
I think initially I was offended. Like, I'm not a Karen in that way. And then I just said, you know what, I can't take this personally. Like, it's not about me.
Why wouldn't it be Pam or Linda? Why Karen?
I have no idea.
Why did the name Karen fall off, that you're one of the only young ones in the world?
Yeah, it's such a boring name. I never really, loved it. I always wanted to be Tiffany or Michelle.
Right. Those are better, 80s girl names.
I know a lot of Karens. I don't know anyone that's really like that. I know a lot of people with other names that are like that, but not necessarily Karens.
How would you feel if someone did call you a Karen in the way that is not your name?
I think I would be shocked. And I think that I would really have to take a look at my own behavior.
If you have advice for not just people named Karen, but women who are acting like Karens, as it is known now, what would that advice be?
Try being kind to other people.
Most people have a few Karens in their lives. The ones in mine are decent and good-natured, and pretty unlikely to make a big scene at a Costco. So while there's no arguing that there's definitely a lot of Karen-like behavior going on right now,
My God, we're not wrecking it!
it's also important to remember this phrase.
Not all Karens are Karens.
Not all Karens are Karens.
Not all Karens are Karens.
They certainly aren't. This is Mike Polk for 3 News.
Man, that's the hardest I've laughed all week. Thank you very much, Mike. So what's your take, Bets? Is it fair?
I'm just flabbergasted at the way some people are acting.
It's embarrassing.
Well, and the other thing is, you got to remember, somebody always has a camera on them now.
Yeah, I know.
So it's hard, you know.
And if they don't, and you sit down in the middle of the store and start screaming,
what
there are
was
going to be a lot of cameras.
about? To sit down in Costco and moving the line.
I have no idea. But you know what? My thing is, I wish we would come up with a different term and have it not be a name. Because before Mike's piece, I felt terrible for all the Karens out there that aren't real Karens.
There's different terms.
Also,
we're just not allowed to use them.
No, I know we're not. Isn't it dangerous to stereotype for anything? And now we're stereotyping on a name?
Yeah.
That's not fair.
I know.
That's not fair. We've got to come up with a better term.
She wanted to be a Tiffany or Michelle.
That was my favorite line. And that and the fact that the other Karen had a real hard time framing her Zoom shot. Don't do that when you're on with Mike Polk, because he's going to get you.
We all struggle.
Hey, is the weather going to be great this weekend or what?
It's going to be a beautiful weekend.
Love it.
It's going to be a hot weekend, though.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, we have already had heat advisories issued. Well, we're probably going to have heat advisories issued for Sunday. We have air quality advisories that have been issued for the day tomorrow already. So we're going to kind of frame all of this out. But if you still want to get outside, do a little patio setting as we go through the night, swantering over here to the green screen. you can see that we're going to have temperatures in the 80s. Lots of sunshine around, green checks all the way. Beautiful evening to be out and about. Just make sure you do drink some water from time to time. And actually, I kind of, do notes to myself every now and then. I mentioned the air quality concerns. I jot things down. So yeah, Saturday we do have the alert. And yeah, heat advisories are possible on Sunday. By the way, drink more water. That's just a note to myself. If you mix in wine or margaritas from time to time, completely understandable. But then, of course, I also have to keep an eye on next Friday, which is the Tribe's home opener. And right now, it's looking sunny and 86 at 7 p.m. at Progressive Field. That's not bad, right? We'll see if it sticks. As far as right now, we're sitting in the 80s across all of Northeast Ohio. The heat continues to be south rather than north thanks to the cooling influence of Lake Erie, but all of us are feeling the humidity. Now, that same cooling influence that's coming in off of Lake Erie, remember, that is lake water that's sitting out there. That is having an effect on its air layer just above. It's called a marine layer, and that marine layer comes right in. So we have the highest humidity values closest to the lake, and it's drier farther south. Relative humidity, remember, is how much moisture is in the air relative to how much moisture the air could hold at current conditions. So our glass, how full is the glass? It's about 40% full in many inland areas. It's a lot fuller farther to the north. Now, as far as the dew point temperatures, this is the feels like, and it feels pretty sticky out there. It felt downright nasty this morning, but the drier air has been mixing in through the day. The problem is the high humidity air is just off to the west. That is going to be coming in as we go through the weekend. On the dividing line of all that, there's a little disturbance farther to the south. That is not going to be making its way to us anytime soon. As a matter of fact, we have to wait for a frontal boundary way to the west to get here to bring us any kind of rain chances, and that looks to be coming in on Sunday. So your National Design by hour forecast, a little bit different view with the graphing here, but you can see low 90s. We'll have winds out of the south for a good part of the day. Lots of sunshine around, but the heat sticks around. We're going to go mid 90s on Sunday in your Universal Windows Direct forecast. Late day storm chances arrive, and then we're going to have hit or miss rain and storm chances as we head through next week as a series of disturbances work their way through here. We need the rain. We'll take it, but woof, 90s, that's pretty rough.
It's going to be hot. Okay, Betsy, thanks. The case for the Cleveland Baseball Club. How generic. Do you really want that as your new name for the Indians? We have that and a special live report from Maureen Kyle when we take you around to what's clicking in Cleveland.
Yes. 5:24 right now, and it's time to check in with Stephanie Haiti to see what has been clicking in Cleveland. All right, Stephanie, we talked about the Spiders. We talked about the Guardians. We talked about the Naps. I think there was another one we talked about. And today, we get to talk about another possible name for the Indians.
That's right. We also talked about the Buckeyes, Betsy, and as we keep looking at the most popular options if our baseball team does change its name, today we are looking at the Cleveland Baseball Club, and for that we turn to our 3 News sports analyst, Ben Axelrod.
With the Cleveland Indians' name in limbo, many have taken to referring to the team simply as the Cleveland Baseball Club. So why not just stick with that? It's crisp, it's clean, and it allows continuity from a previous era. And while naming a team after its city may not be common in baseball, basketball, or football, it is common in soccer both internationally and in the United States. So as the Indians look to move on from the past, why not do so with a forward-thinking approach?
I know some people think this is maybe a little bit on the boring side, but I think it has a certain refinement to it. That's what I think about it. All right, we are now less than an hour away from the virtual Velosano kickoff event, and our very own Maureen Kyle and Mike Polk Jr. are hosting that live stream tonight. Maureen joins us live now. Maureen, you can still get involved. It's not too late. Tell us how people can do that.
It is not too late. This is such a great event. We've been a part of it. WKYC has been a part of it since 2014. And if you don't know what Velosano is, click on it 6 o'clock tonight. I'm pointing over there because I'm about to go on my computer and help host this event. This event is usually a cycling event. Obviously, with everything going virtual this year, you can do anything. You can walk, you can run, you can bike, you can kayak, you can knit. So that's going to be coming up in the show. But everything, all of the money that is raised and all of your donations, 100% of it goes to the Cleveland Clinic for cancer research, cancer treatments, and everything that they need to fight cancer right here in Cleveland, Cleveland Clinic. They don't put any of the money toward administrative, keeping the lights on, anything like that. So if you do want to get involved, simple thing is, Stephanie, people can donate, or if you want to know more about it, click on WKYC.com, has all the info.
Thank you for that, Maureen. We really appreciate it. As Maureen said, we do have a team here at WKYC. There will be 24 of us out there tomorrow getting active, maybe even knitting, like she said, and we've been collecting donations. Betsy, everyone has been so generous with those donations pouring in, so we want to thank everybody for that. It is a great cause, and it's going to be a really fun weekend, even though people are kind of doing it on their own this year.
Hey, you can take it your own way. You know, I mean, the bottom line is you are able to help so many other people here in Northeast Ohio and beyond. So do what you do, girlfriend, and we'll be cheering for you all the way, certainly. Thanks, Stephanie. Check in with you again, half hour. Well, new at 5:30, with coronavirus cases continuing to rise here and across the country, what does that mean for things like schools, who are already grappling with some very tough choices? And how much it'll set you back to be the proud owner of the house from the television classic Golden Girls? And what's old is new again. We're talking about shoes for guys and gals, and how you can make the most of what you already have to be on fashion's cutting edge. That's next.
Hi there, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Great, thank you.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
It is What's New, and we're just a couple of, well, I'm going to say for me, 30 minutes away from the weekend.
Have fun with that.
Yeah, I know you're not done until 11:30, but I'm in weekend mode. I have to admit, I'm guilty.
It's all good. It's nice outside. I have trouble getting into work. You have trouble getting out of work fast enough.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is so true. I see what you did there, Bets. I see what you did. You have something good to tell us, don't you?
I do. I love this. Birthday surprise. Can't go wrong, right, with a birthday surprise. This one's in Parma. Take a listen. In Parma, the folks at Tri-City Helping Hands Services, who do transportation for folks with developmental disabilities in Cuyahoga County, they surprised one lucky lady with a birthday drive-by. That's Kelly, who celebrated a birthday this week. Not only did the Helping Hands folks join in, but a former teacher and a former aide of Kelly's both took part as well. I don't know about you. I would say she's surprised.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the first thing we heard was a scream.
I know.
And what do people do when they're surprised? They scream.
Oh, how fun.
That's pretty cool. See a lot of that these days, and they're smiling, so it's easy for us to smile along, but how much do we miss those in-person celebrations that one day we can assume we will be able to resume? My mom's 80. I think I've told you this, Bets. She lives in Phoenix, Arizona. She hasn't left her house since March. She's lonely. Mm-hmm. And I worry about folks like that, that she's not having that day-to-day, face-to-face interaction. I Skype with her most days, but I really do worry about the people that aren't having that daily interaction.
Right.
It's a big piece of life missing.
Everybody can go ring a doorbell, take a few steps back and say hello.
Yep.
So it's that distance, but you get to see somebody at the same time.
That's right. Okay, our top talker today, as it is most days, coronavirus. Ohio today recording its highest single-day number, 1,679 new cases. Nationwide, daily cases have been trending upwards as well since June. In fact, now topping 70,000 daily. And experts believe that upward trend could continue, and that could have some far-reaching effects for our daily lives. Dr. Kavita Patel is an NBC News medical contributor, and she joins us live now from Washington for some perspective. Doctor, thank you so much for taking time to join us. Where does the rise in cases sit against the plans to reopen schools in the fall, especially as a new government advisory report says that in-person classes are essential for children, particularly with special needs?
Yeah, Jay, it's a great question. It's really troubling to think about opening schools when we have such a rise in cases. So if we are going to try to, whether it's 4 to 6 to 8 weeks from now, do that, we need to take pretty drastic measures now and start to see a decline in cases. And as we think about reopening, that government report really cites the risk to younger children if we do not reopen in-person learning. And I think that's important. All the reasons you talk about also with your own mother, we need to have some element of in-person contact, but we all want it to be safe. So we need to make sure that cases are declining and that we also have the support measures like testing and tracing to facilitate opening safely in the fall.
Very well said, Doctor. The other big issue that we've seen California now go back to some lockdowns and closures. Other states are either thinking about or also imposing these closures. Will hard-hit states have to revert to stricter policies? Do we have to go backwards in order to get a handle on this?
We might, but I think that it's worth emphasizing that you have to look at whether or not you've got, at least a mask mandate, making sure that everybody is at least doing that in public spaces, and that you have at least businesses. You've seen already Walmart and other places that have stated you can't come in unless you wear a mask. So as long as we can really try to enforce some of these things, not take it as political advice, but just true health and science advice, we can. But yes, I do worry that in some places it's too late and that we would need to think about stay at home or reversing these openings.
We have about 30 seconds, Doctor. I was on the phone for a lengthy period of time today with one of the top data people on this fight in Ohio. He told me a staggering number. He said that now in Ohio, the 20 to 29 age group actually makes up the largest portion of cases. That's a dramatic shift from where we were in March and April when it was the over 80. He said 20 to 29, there are 14,000 cases in Ohio, but we've seen only 11 deaths. Obviously, they're better equipped to deal with it because of the immune system. Would you credit that for the reason that the mortality rate seems to be ticking down in the U.S.?
It's possible, but I do worry that we'll see that mortality rate increase as those younger people could be facilitating the spread of infection to other people who do die from this. And we are still seeing deaths amongst younger people. So it's too soon to tell, but I am hopeful that there's some good news on the horizon in general with death rates.
All right. Dr. Patel, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Time now for another check of your headlines here at 5:30. Russ Mitchell has made his way back into the studio. Hello again, Russ.
A long walk, Jay, but I made it. Thanks so much. Good to see you again. The Pentagon has effectively banned the Confederate flag from U.S. military installations in an apparent break with President Trump. Defense Secretary Mark Esper says the move was made to treat all with dignity and respect and to reject divisive symbols. The president said just last month that the administration would not even consider removing Confederate symbols from military installations. Legendary civil rights leader C.T. Vivian has passed away at his Atlanta home. He received the Presidential Medal of Freedom back in 2013 and worked alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., serving as co-leader as the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. C.T. Vivian was 95 years old. And the Giving Tree Project's first tree in Cleveland went up today, this in the West Park neighborhood, to provide masks for anyone who cannot afford them. Those masks will be available Monday through Friday. There are similar Giving Tree programs in Rocky River and Lakewood. A great thing they're doing there, Jay.
Absolutely is. Russ, thank you very much.
Yeah.
We'll see you at 6 o'clock.
Well, as Russ just told us, the Pentagon has taken action that affects the use of Confederate flags at bases. But could the government take it any further than that? Our resident lawyer, legal analyst Stephanie Haney, takes a look, legally speaking.
Let's talk about the Confederate flag. Right now, people are calling to ban it because of its tie to slavery in what we think of as public places like county fairs. Here in Ohio, there was even a bill proposed in the House to do it. But that gets tricky because that flag is considered speech. And our freedom of speech is protected under the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. But protected from who? Legally speaking, county fairs can do whatever they want when it comes to banning the Confederate flag because they're not run by the government. And the First Amendment only stops the government from restricting our speech, except for in certain cases, like when someone says something that's meant to provoke someone to break the law, to intimidate, or legitimately threaten someone else. Even hate speech and speech that promotes the idea of violence is protected. The government can limit where and when speech is expressed, but it has to do it across the board because only restricting a specific point of view is unconstitutional. The American president said it best. Not that one. This one.
You want free speech? Let's see you acknowledge a man whose words make your blood boil, who's standing center stage and advocating at the top of his lungs that which you would spend a lifetime opposing at the top of yours.
If only popular ideas were protected, we wouldn't need the First Amendment. This is Stephanie Haney, legally speaking, for 3 News.
Stephanie, thanks. And we're going to see Stephanie again in just a second. A royal wedding that flew under the radar. Betsy, how is that possible?
Oh, it's very possible.
Really?
Who is that?
Well, they're royal. We're supposed to go crazy about the
royals, though, are they?
Well, I mean, royal is royal, I thought.
Well, hoity-toity. My pinky is up. Nobody can see it, but it's up right now, obviously. All right, there's a look at the radar and the satellite. There isn't much going on, friends, but the heat is building and so is the humidity. We are T-minus 1 week to tribe time. We're going to be talking about all of it in your forecast coming up. And for your pop quiz question today, which major amusement park opened on this day in 1955? Was it Disney World, Disneyland, or Cedar Point?
I know this one.
Buckle up. The answer's straight ahead.
All right, everybody, here's the answer to the pop quiz question. I bet you a lot of folks knew this one. Which major amusement park opened on this day in 1955? It was none other than Disneyland in California. Walt Disney's very first amusement park. It originally cost $17 million to build. And of course, before it was the happiest place on earth, it was the site of 160 acres of Anaheim orange groves.
That's awfully cheap. They take that in like 30 minutes now.
That's like 1955.
I
That was a
know.
lot in 1955.
Boy, if you only would have known.
Ah, the old days.
Well, it is Friday. That means we're feeling good, and that music means it's time for your daily dose of pop culture news. Stephanie is back now with your daily pop break.
Princess Beatrice is officially a married woman. After postponing her wedding to Edoardo Mapelli Mazzi back in April due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Princess of York married the British property tycoon today in a small ceremony surrounded by close family and friends. Buckingham Palace confirmed they married at Windsor Castle in front of the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh. The quiet wedding was a far cry from the royal weddings of Kate, Meghan, and Princess Eugenie, but sources say their plan was always more low-key anyway. Congratulations to the royal newlyweds. While Princess Beatrice is off the market, a little piece of TV history is officially on it. The house from NBC's Golden Girls is up for sale in Los Angeles, and it could be yours for only $3 million. The house itself was only used for its exterior as establishing shots for the iconic show, but the 1950s built home is gorgeous inside and out. And with 4 bedrooms and bathrooms, it would have had plenty of space for Blanche, Dorothy, Rose, and Sophia. It's no Buckingham Palace, but 4 queens at least pretended to live there. And comedian Chris Rock is now sporting a new accessory. For the first time in his life, he just got tatted with his teenage daughter. Bang Bang Tattoo Shop owner Keith McCurdy shared pics of Rock with his Jean-Michel Basquiat crown tattoo on social media yesterday. His daughter Zara chose a similar design by the same French graffiti artist and documented the bonding experience on Instagram. If you ask me, they are both rocking that new ink.
Today is perfect timing for Chris Rock to get into the tattoo game because today is National Tattoo Day. So we asked some of our viewers to share their ink, and here are some of the submissions that we got.
Ooh.
Look at this beautiful, colorful woman. Yes, this is on Liza Ann with art by Vic at Chronic Lakewood. And then check out this on Imelda Grund. You see a timepiece there, a rose and a compass, and this banner that says, "I will always find my way to you." Absolutely gorgeous. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here, Betsy and Jay, and I'm going to say maybe you're in the Chris Rock camp and you're waiting to get a tattoo. Does National Tattoo Day get you excited? Maybe gonna get some ink?
Nope, I'm ink free. Bets, are you?
My mom would kill me.
Yeah, mine too. Steph, what about you?
She still tells me she'll kill me if I get a tattoo.
I had 2 tattoos.
Oh,
I don't have them anymore. You
Wait.
can get them removed.
Oh,
yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. You know, ex-boyfriends' names. I'm just kidding. That's not true.
Well, we
But
actually
we're all tatted in my family. My brother's an artist. Yeah.
All right, very good. Hey, some of them can be beautiful.
Right.
I've just also seen elderly folks with them, and they all say, "I wish I never had done that to my body."
Oh.
At least the ones I've spoken with.
I don't know, some look pretty rad. I wouldn't mess with them necessarily,
Yeah, well.
certainly. And I got to tell you, Rob Bob, one of our camera operators here, he's got quite a few. He has one that's really cool. It's the veins in your arm that's tattooed. It's really kind of cool. It's like body worlds all over the place. So
There you go.
Right? And the nice thing is they're decorative. They don't wash off. They don't sweat off. But you do have to protect them with sunscreen. And that's where we're kind of going next, because you're going to need to make sure you have plenty of sunscreen on as we go through the weekend. We are going to be seeing a lot of sunshine.
Good. That's a good thing.
That is a good thing,
Yeah.
but don't forget the sunscreen. And you're a boater.
I am.
So many people forget that on a boat, you actually get double the amount of sun exposure because of the reflection off the water.
Oh, that's interesting.
See? I'm here to protect.
Jeez.
Protect
Boy, I
and
really
serve.
should start using sunscreen.
Oh, Jason.
I know.
You're just breaking my heart all over the place
I
right
know.
now.
I'm always in such a hurry. That's my problem.
Yeah, I know. I could do that. I'm kind of as you probably could tell. I do the shade thing anymore. I used to get out there in the sun, but not anymore. 85 today's high temperature, 69 the low. Nowhere near the records, just above average as far as the high temps go, but we're going to go way past that as we go through the weekend. Matter of fact, the next 12 hours, we're going to be cooling beautifully under clear skies back into the upper 60s. You're going to start to feel the humidity creeping up, though, as we go through the weekend. Right now, we're sitting in the low 80s close to the lake with upper 80s to near 90 farther south. The heat is certainly there, and the heat is going to increase and push our way as the humidity will also be increasing. You thought it was muggy already? It's still to come, unfortunately, and that does put us kind of in the thick of things as far as the chances for showers and storms. This is a look at Sunday. We're going to start early in the morning, okay, 8 a.m., no problems, but look at Sunday. By noon, we're near 90 degrees, and you can see there are a few little shower and thunderstorm chances that we're expecting Sunday afternoon. Again, I can't stress it enough. It's Sunday that we're talking about here in your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. Really, tomorrow is nothing, so we might as well talk about the exciting stuff. And then we'll continue to have a few random showers around Sunday night. Now, air quality alert is for Saturday. Can you tell my graphics are out of order? No problem. But the air quality alert basically means that we're going to be cooking pollutants once again. We don't have a lot of wind flow, so just be careful as you're out and about, if you're out and about, if you have a sensitivity to any kind of pollutants, breathing restrictions or whatnot. North to northwest wind, 10 knots on the nearshore lake waters of Lake Erie. 1 to 2 foot waves, beautiful on the water, and don't forget sunscreen, Jason, because you do get the bounce off the water. Universal Windows direct forecast keeps us in the mid 90s as we go through Sunday. Late day storm chances we already talked about. And then that'll kick off a little bit cooler weather as we head through next week with scattered rain and storm chances kind of dancing around through midweek toward the week's end. But Jay, right now, Friday, very important day. Tribe home opener.
Yes.
Looks like it's going to be a beautiful one for us.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is good news.
No
rain
snow.
Yeah, that's unlike some of our other opening days. All right, Bets, thanks. From your favorite kicks to the wedges that rock. We're talking what's hot in shoes.
Do you know what a wedge is? Do you know what a wedge is?
Is that a heel? No, I have no idea.
You sold it with conviction.
Well, I just read it. I have no idea what a wedge is, but I'm going to learn soon. Also, later, baseball in kilts. Why one team says the unique accessory is its lucky charm. That's bizarre.
Don't want to be the catcher. For the record, everyone, my mom texted me, ha, 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 ha. So she's watching. All right, it is Friday. We love to say it's Fashion Friday, and today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite things, shoes. We do have some good news. What's old is new again this summer, and if you're like me, you don't get rid of them. The wardrobe consultant Hallie Abrams shows us several styles for men and women that you might already have in your closet.
The first shoe that is super hot this year for men and for women actually are the Birkenstocks. They've been around since the 1700s. They've been in the United States since the mid-1960s. And this is like the traditional Birkenstock that has the cork bottom. They get molded to your feet, so they really are personalized and comfortable. This is a woman's version, this is a men's version. Very well worn and very loved by my family. The newest iteration is a rubber version. These run really reasonably priced. I think they're in the $40 range. The second shoe of the summer is a retro sneaker. Again, for men and women, those are things that have been around for ages, like the Nike Air Force One, the Converse All-Star, the retro-looking New Balance. The third shoe of the season is for women, I would call it a block heel sandal. So that's a sandal you can wear with everything. It has a short heel, so it's comfortable. I think that's a big thing that's come out of COVID, is that people want comfort. So sturdy to walk in, but this is a great shoe and it just sort of goes with everything. From a guy's standpoint, I think a traditional boat shoe or driving mock is also something that's been around forever. It looks really good in the summer with shorts, no socks, shorts and no socks or no-show socks. It looks great with khakis, it looks great with jeans, and it even looks great with sort of like a suit on a more casual basis. So I hope that's helpful. Fashion Friday, I'm Hallie Abrams, the wardrobe consultant. For a deeper dive into all of these, along with links, please go to www.thewardrobeconsultant.com and you'll be able to find everything, or follow me on Instagram at The Wardrobe Consultant. Thank you.
Ari, how many pairs of boat shoes do you have, Jay?
Too many. That's all I'm going to say. I definitely have too many.
I can see you as being kind of a boat shoe hoarder.
Actually, you know what they are? They're Adidas makes a tennis shoe that has holes in the bottom so the water flows right through it. And they're the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
I have a couple pair of those.
Do you have like the ones that are for Sunday boat shoes?
No.
Tuesday boat shoes?
No, they just look like running shoes, but they're boat shoes.
Pretty
That's
comfortable. Well, we have more information on all these different shoes and this segment, WKYC.com. We'll be right back.